Welcome back to Grammar Grade 10. This is Unit 11, Lesson 73, and today we are going to put a comma in one very specific spot, and, just as importantly, learn where it must never go. This is one of the most common punctuation errors in student writing, and by the end of these few minutes, you will have a 1-second test that settles it every single time. Let's get into it. Before we touch a comma, let's remember what a compound sentence is. A compound sentence is two main clauses joined together into a single sentence. And a main clause is a group of words that has its own subject and its own verb, so it could stand alone as a complete sentence. Listen to these two. The bell rang. That is a whole sentence all by itself. The students filed out. That is another whole sentence. Now, you cannot simply shove those two side by side and hope for the best. To join them properly, you need two things working together, a comma and a joining word. Here is the rule, and it is beautifully simple. When a coordinating conjunction joins two main clauses, you put a comma right before that conjunction. Let's build one piece by piece. Main clause 1. The bell rang. That piece could stand alone as its own sentence. Now the comma, and right after it, the joining word, and. Then main clause 2. The students filed out. That piece could stand alone too. Read the finished sentence. The bell rang, and the students filed out. Notice exactly where the comma sits. It does not come after the word and. It comes before it, closing off the first clause and handing the sentence over to the second. So which words count as joining words? They are the coordinating conjunctions you met back in Lesson 11. Here they are: and, but, or, nor, plus for, so, and yet. 7 little words, and that is the whole list. Any one of them can bolt two main clauses together, and whenever one of them is doing that job, a comma goes in front of it. Say them until they feel automatic, because this entire comma rule rides on recognizing them the moment they appear. Now for the trap, and this is where most writers slip. Look at this sentence. Dad chopped the onions and stirred the pot. That comma is wrong. Here is why. Ask what sits to the right of the word and. Stirred the pot. Is that a sentence? Who stirred? There is no subject there at all, so stirred the pot cannot stand alone. It is not a main clause. What we really have is one subject, Dad, with two verbs hanging off him, chopped and stirred. Back in Lesson 15, we called that a compound predicate, and a compound predicate never takes a comma before its conjunction. The correct version: Dad chopped the onions and stirred the pot. One subject, no comma. Let me set the two versions side by side, because one tiny change flips the whole answer. Version 1. Dad chopped the onions and stirred the pot. Count the subjects. There is only one, Dad, and he is doing both actions. One subject, so no comma. Now watch what happens when I give that second verb a subject of its own. Dad chopped the onions and Mia stirred the pot. Suddenly there are two subjects, Dad and Mia. The right-hand side, Mia stirred the pot, is a complete sentence all by itself, so the comma goes in before and. Same conjunction, same two verbs, but the number of subjects decided everything. So here is the test you can run in about 1 second every single time. Cover the conjunction with your finger and read what is left on each side. If both sides can stand alone as complete sentences, you have two main clauses and you use the comma. If the right side has no subject of its own, you have a compound predicate and you leave the comma out. Try it on our bell sentence. The bell rang. That stands alone. The students filed out. That stands alone too. Both sides pass, so the comma is correct. Now run it on the other one. Dad chopped the onions stands alone, but stirred the pot does not. The right side fails, so no comma. That one move handles every case you will ever meet. 2 more details and you are fully armed. First, when the 2 main clauses are very short, writers sometimes drop the comma. I called and she answered. That reads perfectly well without one. But here's the good news. Putting the comma in is never wrong. So when you are unsure, put it in. Second, and this one really matters. Look at this. The bell rang, the students filed out. Both halves are full main clauses, which is fine. But look at what is joining them. Only a comma. That is a comma splice, the error we met in lesson 32. A comma is simply not strong enough to hold 2 sentences together by itself. It needs the conjunction standing beside it, or you swap the comma out for a semicolon. Time to practice. In this first set, I will read you a sentence with a blank where a comma might belong. You decide, does this sentence need a comma before the conjunction, or does it need no comma at all? Run the cover test. Pause the video and choose before I reveal each answer. The rain stopped, blank, and the game resumed. Cover the word and. On the left, the rain stopped with its own subject, rain. On the right, the game resumed with its own subject, game. Both halves stand alone, so these are 2 main clauses. We need the comma before the conjunction. Nina packed her bag, blank, and locked the door. Cover the word and. On the left, Nina packed her bag. On the right, locked the door. Who locked it? There is no subject on the right at all, so that half cannot stand alone. This is one subject with 2 verbs, a compound predicate, so the answer is no comma. The trail was steep, blank, but we kept climbing. Cover the word but. The trail was steep stands alone. We kept climbing stands alone too, with its own subject, we. 2 main clauses joined by but, so the answer is a comma before the conjunction. In this second set, the punctuation is already on the page. Your job is to judge it. Read each sentence, run the cover test, and decide whether it is correct as written. Pause and try each one before I answer. Marcus washed the dishes and swept the floor. Cover the conjunction and look right. Swept the floor has no subject of its own, so it is not a main clause. Marcus is simply doing both verbs. This is a compound predicate, and the comma is wrong here. The lights flickered and the room went dark. Cover the conjunction. The lights flickered stands alone. The room went dark stands alone, with its own subject, the room. 2 main clauses and a comma sitting right before the joining word, so this sentence is correct as written. The bus was late, we waited in the rain. Both halves are full main clauses, which is a good start, but look at what joins them. Only a comma. There is no conjunction anywhere in sight. A comma alone cannot join them, so this is a comma splice. Add the word so after the comma, or replace that comma with a semicolon. Let's gather it all up. In a compound sentence, 2 main clauses joined by and, but, or, nor, for, so, or yet. The comma goes in right before that conjunction. The bell rang and the students filed out. But if the conjunction is only joining 2 verbs that share a single subject, that is a compound predicate, and it takes no comma. Dad chopped the onions and stirred the pot. And your 1-second check never changes. Cover the conjunction and read each side. If both sides stand alone, use the comma. If the right side has no subject, leave it out. And never forget, a comma all by itself can never join two main clauses. That is a comma splice. Lovely work today. In our next lesson, we will keep going with commas, this time in a series. I will see you there.